मालासुधाकुम्भविबोधमुद्रा विद्याविराजत्करवारिजाता अपारकारुण्यसुधाम्बुराशिं श्रीशारदाम्बां प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम् शङ्कारूपेण मर्चित्तं पङ्कीकृतमबोध्यया किङ्करीयस्य सामाया शङ्कराचार्यमाश्रये प्रह्लादवरदो देवो यो नृसिंहः परो हरिः नृसिंहोपासकं नित्यं तं नृसिंहगुरुं भजे श्रीसच्चिदानन्दशिवा अभिनव्यनृसिंहभारत्यपितान् यतीन्द्रान् विद्यानिधीन् मन्त्रनिधीन् सदात्मनिष्ठान् भजे मानवशम्भुरूपान् सदात्मध्याननिरतं विषयेभ्यः परान्मुखं नौमि शास्त्रेषु निष्णातं चन्द्रशेखरभारतीं विवेकिनं महाप्रज्ञं धैर्योदारक्षमानिधिं सदाभिनवपूर्वं तं विद्यातीर्थगुरुं भजे भारती करुणापात्रं भारती पदभूषणं भारती पदमारूढं भारती तीर्थमाश्रये विद्याविनयसम्पन्नं वीतरागं विवेकिनं वन्दे वेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञं विदुशेखरभारती. Offer this humble talk at the lotus feet of Deshta Mahasannidhanam Jagadguru Srimad Abhinavavidyatirtha Mahaswamigal Mahasannidhanam Jagadguru Shri Bharati Tirtha Mahaswamigal and Sannidhanam Jagadguru Shri Vidushekara Bharati Mahaswamigal. Dear Guru Bandhus, it's one more divine occasion and divine blessing to be talking to all of you on the auspicious occasion of the 49th Aradhana celebration of Jnanananda Bharati Swamigal, our Manasika Vedanta Guru, which is to take place on 6th April 2024 this year. Should always be thankful to our Shankar for giving us this opportunity every year, and the Guru Bandhava channel for ensuring that this is webcast. As usual, this year we have chosen to speak on one of the books authored by Jnanananda Bharati Swamigal, titled as The Stray Thoughts on Dharma. This book is again totally 130 pages, encapsulating core essence Vedantic truths in such an easy style for any simple new reader to understand and follow and practice too. This book contains various thoughts on Dharma, of which we thought of enlisting and talking about 3 or 4 of them, so that it induces every listener to go and read the original text. The idea of talking Swamigal's books is only to ensure that the listener ultimately reaches to the original text, and reading the original text will certainly empower us with the abilities to assimilate and practice. One of the concepts of Dharma is how peace and happiness are an inseparable pair, and how, if done and implemented, will result in the sustainable status of peace and happiness. Swamigal says it's so normal for any human being to wish, aspire, desire, and work towards happiness. It's the common intuitive feeling amongst human race. But the question is, if one has to be happy, it is an inseparable truth that one should be at peace. And proceeds to say in his book, Straight Thoughts of Dharma, that unfortunately, world understands it the other way and explains that whether it is a nation or a society or a family or even an individual, what remains the common truth is, if you want to progress in life, you must be ambitious and you must have elements of discontentment which will drive you to do more and therefore progress more. So, material world and material compulsions make us feel and believe that the source seed of happiness is actually discontentment, through which you put efforts to progress. This may be true for worldly success. But Vedanta is not about worldly success. It is about how to live in this material world to ultimately reach God. So, if one has to know or have a taste of what is the source seed for happiness, it is exactly the opposite of discontentment, which is peace. And says the distinction between discontentment and peace, though the ultimate destination is happiness, is, Swamigal says, discontentment leading to growth, therefore leading to happiness, has an inevitable side effect. Because anything which starts with discontentment will have or lead to an inevitable outcome of fear. Fear will be an inevitable outcome of discontentment. And proceeds to describe what sort of a fear that one would be gripped with. And Swamigal says, the fear arising out of discontentment is nothing but the fear of possessing what we have claimed, achieved, or possessed. So say, see the two sides. The source for growth is discontentment, and therefore you put efforts to grow. And you grow and you actually achieve success. Upon achievement of success, you actually get fear. Success of power, success of wealth, success of position, success of status. So what is the fear? The fear to retain it, to possess it as long as you want it. So discontentment, growth leads to fear. Fear of possession. So this cycle is something which is inevitable and puts us the question, If this is what you intend to do, please tell us, how will one be happy and how one will be at peace? And says the opposite to discontentment, which is peace. How do you say peace leads to happiness? For which Swamigal answers in this book, Stray Thoughts of Dharma. One who gets without seeking will be at peace. What do you mean by that? Are you to say that we'll all sit quietly and do nothing? Are we to remain just allow things to get a wayward life, allow the life to go the way it is destined to? Answer is a clear no. Answer is a clear no. Get without seeking for it is the root or the foundational platform for peace. And says you can do it in 3 ways and work towards them simultaneously. And says, what do you mean by peace and happiness together? A state where there is no unrest, a state where there is no fear, a state where there is no misery. And the first foundational step towards peace is selfless action. That's the first step. What do you mean by selfless action? Swamigal says, quoting from the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, it is impossible for a human being to be inactive. It is equally impossible for a human being to give up all activities. It is impossible. So to remain without action, to remain actionless is just not possible till one attains jnana, bliss. So when this is impossible, the fact remains that we have to work, we have to act, and we cannot give up activities. Therefore says, how do you articulate yourself to reach peace? Says, can you do your work, 1, without ego and without owning it or trying to be possessive about its results? Selfless action starts only from there. The feeling that we do this activity and the feeling that this will reap us this benefit, the doership and an anticipation of the benefit out of the doership. Can you be out of it? And this can come one and only when someone is able to believe firmly that we are a tool in the hands of God, and it is God which allows us to perform whatever we perform. It's His design which ultimately works. It is His design which bear fruits, and not any other external agency which is beyond, which is under our control. Is this possible? What? Giving up ego and therefore the doership, and giving up the sense of possessiveness by not anticipating the yield or the fruits of our effort. Acharya says, no, Swamigal says, it is doable, and this is an assurance Bhagavan Krishna has given in Gita. All that we have to do is only three things: yajna, dhana, and tapas. Three crucial, fundamental elements which leads to selfless action. You will be very active in life, yet selfless in your action. No doership, no expectation of an anticipated result. These three things will wash it off and make your selfish action into selfless action. Yajna and dana drives you to eliminate ego. You don't feel that I'm doing it, it's my work and my effort. Yajna and dana are perfect neutralizers of our human ego. And tapas kills us the expectation or the anticipation of a desired fruit. And says, a pursuit of all these three together will make us free from anxiety of any sort. A person who is not anxious becomes a selfless person, and his actions remain selfless action, free from ego and free from anticipation of results. And this is exactly what is called as Karma Yoga. So the first vertical, to reach to the state of peace. Now, the second vertical is Bhakti. In 3 pages, I'm just conveying this to all our Sishyas. In just 3 pages, Swamigal brings out so beautifully how we should perceive God in our mind to develop Bhakti. In just 3 pages. The first step, can you treat in your heart, in your mind, in your thought, God is our friend. God is our well-wisher. And God is interested in our welfare. First step for Bhakti. Unless one believes God is a friend of us, a well-wisher of us, and truly will take care of our welfare, the connect with God to perform Bhakti may not be as effective as it can be. Second step, once we believe in these 3, then we will progress to the next stage. Okay, he's our friend, he's our well-wisher, and therefore there is no need to go and tell him about our wants. Because the connect is established. Will not a friend know what you need? A friend in need. Will not our well-wishers know what do we actually need or aspire for? Which of aspiration doesn't, what we need at a given point of time. So, it leads us to the second step. God knows what we want. Third step, it will make us, once we feel God is our well-wisher and take care of our welfare, We should also therefore believe God is omnipotent and omnipresent. Third step. Omnipotent. He has all the powers and energies to do what is good to us. And omnipresent. He is present everywhere and He alone is present everywhere. So, the secured feeling that God is not in one place or in some places, and God is not limited with this power and limited with that constraint, which God is not. So, if God is omnipotent without any constraints and omnipresent without any limitations, where is the urge or need or the desire or the aspiration to go and tell Him, this is what I want? Which is what our acharyas keep saying this repeatedly. Oh Sishya, as you come to me, do you think that I don't know what you want? Guru, a Jivan Mukta, a Tapasvi is no different from God. Will we not come to as a savior when we need? So the conviction that God is omnipotent and omnipresent will be a beautiful state if we truly believe in this. Swamigal says it will give you the following results. The first outcome would be one would enjoy some sort of a mental equilibrium. When you are in a state of mental equilibrium, that's the first step towards peace. Once we are in that state of mental equilibrium, we will neither have friends or foes amongst fellow human beings. This mental equilibrium is very vital, says Swami. Because when God is our friend, our well-wisher, God is also a friend of or well-wisher to anyone else. It's a common truth. It's not a selective truth. So, the belief that God is a common friend, a common well-wisher, and works for the common welfare of the entire universe, both material and non-material. And if this mental equilibrium is achieved by us, the first good symptom that will emanate out of us is we don't have enemies. However much they may work in our favor or against us, doesn't matter. We don't have enemies. And we will not attempt to hate or hurt or injure anybody, which is elementary for bhakti. You can't perform bhakti and keep hurting people. So, the need or the desire or the intent or the attempt to hurt fellow human beings will slowly perish. The belief is God is omnipotent, omnipresent, and is a well-wisher of the entire universe. This is towards the human beings, fellow human beings. Now, towards God, Swamigal says, our minds will slowly start turning around and says, whatever we do to God is just done not just to please God, but is done with lot of reverence. The difference between trying to please God and reverence is please God may carry an intent, a purpose, a desire to acquire some fruits out of it. Whereas when you start doing, in fact, Swamigal says, the act of doing or done or to be done will slowly transform into actions in the nature of offerings. Our actions will become an offering to God with reverence. And God is omnipotent, God is omnipresent, God is omniscient, so He doesn't require anything. Whether you offer a cup of water, or a small flower or a leaf, or whatever you can, if done with reverence, transforms the person into a person having bhakti. And says, if you start to do this as an offering with reverence, knowing fully well that God doesn't need any of this, then a karma, which is a selfless action, gets integrated with the second vertical of what is called as bhakti. This is bhakti. Selfless action in the form of an offering with utmost reverence to a God whom we believe is our friend, our well-wisher, and one who can take care of all of us. Is bhakti. Third vertical, automatic. Once we get into these two modes, God will guide us to jnana. And explains very briefly again in 3 pages. See, why do we say jnana is supreme? Why should our Acharya keep repeatedly saying there is no substitute to jnana, there is no substitute to bliss, and which can be attained only through Guru's divine grace, by any Sishya? Why? Swamigal puts it in one sentence. See, the birth of jnana is the destroyal of ignorance. The birth of light leads to exclusion of total darkness. Therefore says, what do you mean by dispelling darkness? Dispelling ignorance. What do you mean by that? Swamigal explains in one sentence. This means, dispelling ignorance means that human being is now free from ego, free from pride, free from fear, free from desire, and does not carry any aversion or jealousy or hatred or anger. So, ignorance leads us to have a strong foundation of on all of these. Whereas knowledge dispels everything out of us once and for all. Then says, look here, you answer the question yourself. If you are going to be rendering a selfless action with bhakti as an offering with reverence, with a total belief that God is our well-wisher and He will take care of us. We don't have to go and ask anything with Him. Will slowly lead to the extinguishment or making it extinct the qualities, the negative qualities of egoism, fear, hatred, anger, jealousy, desire, possessiveness, everything. And will such a person not be in peace? Will he be in peace? And if he is in peace, will he not be happy? And conveys a small story. There was a great Pandit, excelling in qualities which are unparalleled or unknown, and was leading a very peaceful and happy life, offering whatever he got to God. The kingdom and the king decided to honor him abundantly, something which he has not seen, but something which he has not possessed all these years. So, all the abundant wealth and riches handed over to him was made into a big bucket, and the packet was carried by his assistant. And they were walking out of the kingdom to reach home, and it was getting late, and therefore need to pass through forest. Since he was carrying precious wealth and riches, he started to get the fear of protecting his possession, because this wealth has become his, and therefore the fear to protect and preserve. So because of the fear, he started to inquire every person who crossed him, is it safe to walk further? Is it free from any trouble? And started getting the answer, yes, you can proceed. The assistant for a while was wondering, when we were walking through the same path last evening and night to reach the kingdom, our teacher did not ask this question with anyone. Whereas, where is the need for him to ask this question repeatedly and quite often? It occurred to him the difference was only the possession which he was carrying over his head, and threw it into a bush and started to walk with his teacher. So when the teacher inquired him the next time with someone who crossed him, the student politely said, "Oh teacher, there is no need to ask this question, because whatever we have been carrying as our possessions, I have dispossessed it by throwing it into a bush." And the teacher replied to the student, "Oh my God, all learnings all throughout my life will not match this truth taught by you in a second. I would have lost peace forever. And I am restored back my peace, and I am thankful to God for that." God may bless us with abundance. That is His choice, and that's our Purva Karma. But a peaceful mind is one who doesn't carry the fear of possessiveness over it. Selfless action, bhakti with reverence, and a state where we are free from ego, hatred and anger and desires, will lead us to peace. And the first statement which Swamigal says in the opening para of this chapter, peace and happiness are twins, inseparable twins. Indeed is true. Now he travels into the next chapter with this foundation and puts us a question. World and renowned speakers and debaters keep asking one question frequently: whether karma is superior or bhakti is essential or jnana is superior, and therefore can you get jnana which is supreme without bhakti and karma? Since jnana is superior, do we therefore need bhakti and karma in our lives? Can't you not attain jnana without karma and bhakti? And puts a material question to ourselves. It says, look here, it's like asking for somebody who is an entrepreneur and wants to succeed. If you go and ask a question to him, if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, do you need capital? Do you need brains? Or do you need labor? Which amongst the three leads you to make your enterprises a very successful and prosperous enterprise? What would the entrepreneur give in reply? Will he choose one out of the three and say, no, this alone is enough for me to reach the top? When this is so, Swamigal asks a question. Vedanta teaches us a tripod: karma, bhakti, followed by jnana. Now please tell us, out of the three legs of the tripod, which is the most important leg? Can you identify one out of the three as the most important leg in the tripod? And proceeds to explain this Vedantic concept so beautifully and eloquently in the next few pages, hardly 6 or 7 pages. He explains it. How does Swamigal explain it in his book, Stray Thoughts of Dharma? The first question he poses to us is karma and bhakti an alternate to jnana? Or vice versa, is jnana a substitute or alternate to karma and bhakti? And gives a straight answer. Look here, action of path and action of knowledge are not substitutable or not clear alternatives. Action of path leads one to action of knowledge, and therefore it's a straight path. It is not an alternative path. First answer. There are two stages of a straight road. So they are not alternate or substitute, number one. Two, they are two phases or stages of a straight road, a single road. And step 3, which is very important, Swamigal says, performing karma leads to yoga, and therefore karma is a means to yoga. So karma is a means and leads you to the end path, an end which is a beginning again, called yoga. And once somebody steps into the path of yoga, What is the means? Renunciation. See, performing selfless action, which is karma yoga, leads to yoga, jnana yoga. And what is jnana yoga? The means to jnana yoga is renunciation. Performing selfless action is the first phase, karma to yoga. Renouncing actions is the second phase of the same road where you go from karma and transcend to jnana. Renunciation. So, can you say that they are substitutes? Can you say that they are alternatives? And the fourth step refers to Bhagavad Gita and says, see, the Lord assures one thing with certainty and without any ambiguity. The path which a jnani finally attains is the path also available to karma yogis. That's the assurance. So, we see somebody who attains jnana in one birth. And therefore we get the doubt. Look here, he is a jnani. We saw him and he has attained bliss. And therefore, should we have to do karma? He would not or she would not have attained that stage without progressing into the path of karma yoga. The means to yoga is karma, and the means to achieve that yoga is renunciation. Somebody has done it in the previous births and they have reached there. So, assures you the same road of jnana, the same destination of jnana is available to every karma yogi, ultimately attains jnana. Be rest assured. And therefore, now puts the question back to us. Can we now start debating karma, bhakti versus jnana? Which is superior? Which is more important? Which is relatively important? If you start examining this question, Swamigal answers it with a beautiful symbol. Says, suppose we order somebody, go to the room, search for the book and read. So there are three action points. The effort of going to the room, searching for the book, and then finally reading it. Now the question is, there is a sequence, there are steps to follow. Therefore, if one has to read a book, can they skip the two anterior steps, namely going into the room and searching for the book? Can you read that book foregoing the two anterior steps? Not possible. So, in a material world, to reach out to a book calls for these steps. Can you now say, after reading, look here, I have read it, and therefore my purpose of walking into the room is futile, it's useless. The purpose of searching for the book is completely irrelevant. You can say that after reading the book, but you can only say this to this extent. Now my coming into the room or reading the book no longer is the purpose, because I've read the book. But could you have read the book? Put the reverse of it. Could you have read the book without entering the room and searching the book? Answer is no. And therefore, Swamigal reiterates once again, look here, don't get into this fight Don't get anywhere near this controversy by saying karma and bhakti is superior to jnana or the reverse. Jnana alone is superior, jnana alone is attainable, and therefore there is no need for karma yoga or bhakti yoga. Please don't get into this debate at all. You need all these steps to reach there, and gives a beautiful example. Says, look here, somebody is resting on an easy chair and allowing the mind to go freely wherever it wants to, wandering thoughts, enjoying. A friend walks into the room and tells him, look here, there is an important talk on Vedanta today evening at some place. Will you be interested to come? Because you have a natural inclination to Vedanta. The person suddenly sprouts and jumps out of his easy chair. Yes, thanks for the information. I am indeed interested to come and attend it. And takes the first step of dressing him decently. At home, he was casual. Now he has to attend a talk in a hall where public would be gathering. So the first attempt he makes is to dress himself properly, to suit the occasion. So that first step is taken. Now the second step is he must proceed to reach that meeting hall. So he starts to walk with his friend. And sees a beautiful garden to his right, a big cinema theater where the latest movie is being shown, and meets a most important and close friend of theirs who is not inclined in Vedantic talks. So, the man, as he keeps walking, has the distractions of either diverting himself into that garden, which is lovely, substituting his priorities by going into the theater and watching that new movie, or having embarked on a very close friend could take a call. Oh yeah, we can listen to this lecture some other time. We can't miss this evening with my friend. He has come as he's walking possibly towards my home to meet me. I can't disappoint him. So the choice is with that individual, having neatly dressed to attend the talk, to either get diverted to any one of the three, or overcome that and proceed to the hall. He thinks for a while whether he should be with his friend, and the other friend said, hey, you can't miss this talk today. This speaker is rare and he may not come again in the near future. That rings a bell in him and said, yes, well, I can meet you tomorrow, but I can't miss this talk. So let me go to the talk. So circumvents the distraction and proceeds to the talk. Step 2, he reaches the hall. Step 3, see, he has been using his legs, pair of legs to walk. And he has been waving his hands as he likes, meeting people, talking to them, or gesticulating when he was explaining something while conversing with his friend. So, once he reached the hall and has taken a seat, he would have to give rest to his legs and remain actionless in terms of articulating or gesticulating or talking or freely thinking and wandering. So he brings his body into control, his thoughts and minds into control to listen to the speech. Step 3. He connects with the speaker and what he is going to talk. Step 4. When the speaker starts to deliver Vedanta, he puts the time. His body, his mind, and his thought are now connected to the speaker and eager to listen to the Vedantic thoughts which he is going to convey, and starts to receive and assimilate them. After the completion of the talk, both he and his friend walk back, introspecting what was conveyed in that Vedantic lecture. Step 4. Now, Swamigal puts a few simple questions for our understanding. Look here, somebody was reclining in an easy chair and allowing his mind to wander happily. Now he gets an opportunity to attend a talk. He gets out of his easy chair and dresses himself properly to suit the occasion. Suppose after dressing, he still chooses as a second thought to go and sit in his easy chair. Would you have had the opportunity to go and listen to that lecture? So he didn't do that. So step 1, he chose to dress properly to suit the occasion, which if you translate it into a Vedantic position, the first step is achara. Keeping ourselves neat and clean physically and mentally to suit the occasion of pursuit to God. So achara is the first foundational step, dressing up as externally. It is an external bhava. 2, you choose to walk. Therefore, there is an action happening, walking towards the lecture hall. Karma. And not get distracted either to the cinema hall or the friend or the garden. So, you perform an action to reach the hall, karma. On reaching the hall, you remain motionless. You don't act other than allowing the mind to connect with the thoughts that is going to be delivered with focus. That bhava translating into bhakti because it's going to be a Vedantic discourse. Something which you feel is useful to your life. And being attentive, assimilative, and with the ability to introspect, you start applying what was taught to you. It's the fourth and final step, jnana. And puts us a question. Please ask yourself, does a neat or a proper dressing have any relevance to what is conveyed by the speaker? Relevance to the introspection or the reflection which the mind seeks to make in understanding and assimilating and allowing you to practice that jnana. Does dress help you in any way? Is it relevant? Dressing may not find a final place as a component in jnana. But unless you dress properly, you will not be prompted to go to the meeting hall and attend the lecture. So it is a step towards the attendance. An indispensable step, which may not finally find a place or become a component in jnana. But can you therefore say this step is dispensable? I could have simply come out of my easy chair and walked straight with a not so good dhoti and with just one banyan. and say, no, we will go and attend this gathering, huge gathering in a big hall, a reputed place. So achara is indispensable. You can't say it doesn't finally figure as a component in jnana. It's an indispensable step. 2, we are not talking of an era of some virtual lecture. This is a hall where you have to walk and attend. Can you reach the hall without walking there? Taking the effort of moving towards that hall. Even if it's going to be a virtual hearing, will you not come and sit towards a screen or a phone to that effort? Not to say this effort does not find as a component in the final picture. And therefore, can you reverse the question? This is not needed. We can't say that. So, karma yoga is essential critical step towards jnana. Third question. On reaching the hall, can you be walking around? Can you be waving? Can you be talking around with people? Can you be lecturing yourself when you come here to attend a lecture? And therefore, focus towards the objective is bhakti. You have come here to earn knowledge. And you can earn it only through a form known. No, I have come and sat. I have assimilated it. Now I have introspected it. I am pursuing. Therefore, coming and sitting is worthless. It's not possible to say that. See, the ultimate fruit may be distinct from the dress we wear, may be distinct from the path we tread towards it, may be distinct from the bhakti, the focus with which, equipoise with which we acquire. But these are essential, indispensable steps in ultimately seeking us that jnana. And there, Swamigal therefore says, look here, if somebody is going to come and preach you, jnana is supreme, dispense karma and bhakti, you will go nowhere. Take it from me. Because you are violating the dictum, the knowledge imparted by Bhagavan Shri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, which is the essence of various Upanishad truths. In fact, I thought of discussing 2 more concepts, but there is a time constraint because we are already reaching an hour. And if God willing and Swamigal's blessings, if you get a chance, try to record the second part. But this is, we have dealt just with 12 pages of this 130 pages. This is the beauty of Swamigal's writing. And therefore, would like to sign off this talk with a fond hope that our Sishyas will certainly, or whoever is the new listener in this, through this video, will reach out and get the book Stray Thoughts of Dharma, authored by Jnanananda Bharati Swamigal, one of the Prathama Sishyas during the period of Jagadguru Srimad Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswamigal and Jagadguru Srimad Abhinav Vidyadhita Mahaswamigal, and who was blessed with a darshanam at his place also by Mahasannidhanam Jagadguru Shri Bharati Tita Mahaswamigal. This talk is a humble offering for the 49th Aradhana occasion of Jnanananda Bharati Swamigal, which is slated to take place on 6th April. Thank once again Shankar for this opportunity and Shingeri Guru Bandhava channel for webcasting this. Offer this humble talk at the lotus feet of Jagadguru Srimad Abhinav Vidyadhita Mahaswamigal, our Jeshta Mahasannidhanam, Jagadguru Shri Bharati Tita Mahaswamigal, our Mahasannidhanam, and Jagadguru Shri Vidushekara Bharati Mahaswamigal, our Sannidhanam. Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmat Acharya Paryantam Vande Guru Parampara.